Yeah, MLB Data Warehouse. Where the spreadsheets flow and the takes get spicy. Jon, Tim, Doc, let's go. Welcome to the warehouse, stat stack to the ceilings. Exit below's flying, launch angles got a feeling. Tim in the corner with the prospect report. Reading fan graphs, blurbs like it's soft core sport. Junior and double A, Tim's losing.
Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse Podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on X at Fantasy Aceball. And we're doing redraft, so it's just John and I today. You can find John at JohnPGH. And I made John change the intro before we started because I was like, we're doing the wrap, right? And he's like, no, it's not on. I'm like, no, we're doing the wrap. This is morning. We're recording on a morning. Yeah. So like I got my coffee right here. I'm like, no, we need an awesome beat to get us into the day. So how you doing, John? Still mixed on the wrap, you know.
Oh,
dude, that song is sick. What are you talking about?
It is cool. It sounds good. Yeah. Veloz. Yeah. He says exit Veloz. Did you realize that? He doesn't pronounce it right. So we're still a step ahead of the robots.
Barely. For like 5 more years. Didn't they say, everyone keeps saying that, hey, make all the money you can before 2030, because after 2030, it's going to be impossible for anyone to gain wealth anymore, because probably at that point, we'll just all be on universal basic income. And we will all not have real jobs, because every real job is just going to become irrelevant. These robots are going to do it all.
Nonsense. We'll find something else to do. But.
Yeah, get your wealth now. Anyway, here's your wealth on starting pitching targets, because today we're talking about starting pitcher redraft rankings, which if you are a subscriber to the Prospect Warehouse package, the My Prospect package, I recommend it, because you just got version 4.
Talking about Tim's package again here early in the morning.
Talking about my package in the morning. We got version 4 out last week, so these are updated rankings. I don't know. After seeing Liberatore yesterday, I might want to bump him because he was sick.
Yeah, don't. I know. If people are going to be tempted, they're going to be tempted to bump dudes. I'm not doing it. Liberatore looked insane. 16 whiffs in like 4 or 5 innings. It was insane, but don't do it, man. Happens every year.
His curveball was magic. It was like lefty Wayno. It was like watching a lefty Wayno out there. It had Heim pumped because I was sitting near Heim Bloom. He was pretty pumped about it the whole game. And also, he's got a splitter now. So we got a lefty splitter.
Right. If there's one thing.
New pitch.
If there's one thing to maybe move on, it would be a new splitter or something. But a lot of guys, like even last spring, it was kind of the splitter year. And even like last World Series, we kind of all ended with the splitter. It was Blue Jays, Dodgers, like the ultimate splitter matchup. So that's kind of been a trendy pitch. And a lot of guys have tried to put it in, but it's easier said than done. You know, if it was easy to add a splitter and like take it to the next level, I think everybody would have done it already. But that's interesting. If you add a splitter, and I guess the one way like these Stuff Plus pitch movement models can be useful at this time of year is looking like, is the pitch moving differently? Like if his curveball wasn't great last year and now it's getting big results in the spring, like if there's nothing looking different about it, then you just ignore it. But I don't know, if it's got more spin, more movement, whatever, then maybe you take it a little bit more seriously. But I don't think you should be moving guys up more than like tiebreaker kind of moves from spring. But yeah, Liberatore is certainly one of those dudes that is free in drafts, and you can get in the last round. And I don't know, I'd probably still rather use him as a streamer or whatever. But deep leagues, he's probably not gonna kill you in like a 15-20 team league or whatever. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and he's not my number 1 pitcher, because if you're listening and you're like, these dudes are talking about Matthew Liberatore off the bat, he is not my number 1 pitcher. We're just talking about him because I saw him yesterday. But
he's more interesting to talk about than these first 10. You know, everybody knows about these guys.
Yeah. So one more note on Liberatore right here. It should be noted that he was really, really good for his first like 70 or 80 innings last year, and then he was really bad after that. And the year before, he was a relief pitcher. So last year was his actual first year as a starting pitcher since the minor leagues. So he has mentioned, like, you know, during podcasts or whatever, that basically his whole offseason was developing this new pitch, which he didn't even talk about what pitch it was until the spring training started. So now we know it's the splitter. So his whole offseason was that, and then like trying to improve his durability. So he did pitch what was it? He pitched 151 innings last year, but he went from 86. So like he was really good his first 70, 80 innings and then was bad. So I think this year he's probably going to be better longer. One would think just based on like simple traditional buildup, right?
I guess so. He wasn't like dominate. Like last year when he was good, it was like this. It seemed pretty obvious that it wasn't going to last. He wasn't getting strikeouts or whiffs, but yeah, splitter 25% usage this spring, 33% swinging strike rate. So good start, good case for him, I guess. Maybe we should move him up a bit. I mean, I had him so low that it's not going to, there's plenty of room to move him up. So it's interesting. Good start.
Yeah. Also good ballpark and good defense. So can't complain about having Mason Wynn as your shortstop behind you. But anyway, let's get to the top 10 starting pitchers. We got number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Paul Skeens. Number 3, Garrett Crochet. That's pretty like money for everybody, right? That's nothing special there. That's pretty much everyone's 1, 2, 3. Number 4, Logan Gilbert. Number 5, I've got Jacob deGrom. That actually might be a differentiator. Like I think a lot of people have deGrom much lower, but deGrom was awesome last year. So like it does. Have you seen anyone else have Jacob deGrom as a top 5 pitcher? Because like I picked him in I think like the 4th round or something of TGFBI, and I'm like, that's a steal. I was like, deGrom is back, man. He was back last year to what he normally is, 172 innings. That's the most he's thrown since 2019. Like as long as he's healthy. deGrom's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. 297 ERA, 0.92 WHIP last year, 22.1 K minus walk rate. Am I crazy?
I mean, I don't think anybody would fight you about it. And it's like, yeah, he's perceived injury risk because of the history, but is he more? The question to figure out is like, is he more of an injury risk than Gilbert, Crochet, these top guys, Wu, Ragans? It's hard to say he is now. I don't know. I mean, so
yeah, not more than Reagan's. I mean, like Reagan's is always hurt. Yamamoto pitched like 1,000 innings last year. So you got that. And then Chris Sale is also always hurt. So why should any of those guys be ahead of Jacob deGrom would be my question.
And weirdly, we have the main event now, which is this psycho fantasy baseball contest on NFBC where it's like $1,700 to play, something like that. I have no idea. No, of course, no. That's like I don't know what
we should do an MLB data warehouse one.
I will actually, yeah. I had somebody
use the funds and we can do a tag team on it.
Like someone brought this up to me last year and I just forgot about it till right now. They said like you could have the subscribers buy a share and just raise the money, and then if we win, we give them whatever. You work out a deal so it's not
all those people. We should just do one.
I can't. There's no okay. Like there's some kind of limit here for me. Like I make all the money in my family, but I'm still like I can't just go ripping off $700 for a fantasy baseball league. Like that's a little bit irresponsible. I would say. And yeah. But the problem is you're playing with people that it's not like I'm playing against my coworkers or whatever. Like you're intentionally playing against the best people, the people that are willing to put $1,700 in. It's like it just seems like a very low EV, especially me. I'm not that great at actually playing these leagues. Maybe someday, but yeah, I would take a dip for a couple $100, but I mean,
all right.
Anyway.
All right. Here's the move. Then here's the move.
Yeah.
Let's put up a fund. Let's see if we can raise enough money in a week. Let's put up a fund, and then if they confront you and I playing, then if we win, then we'll share half the money to the people that help front it. How about that?
Yeah,
we split half, and then we give half
like an investment
to the people. Yeah, we'll run the whole thing just because we don't want too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you and I run it,
right?
And then we keep half, and then give the other half back to the people who.
All right. We can put it out there. I think we're gonna get laughed at. Like the worst thing in the world is when you're like, it's really embarrassing to be like, "Do you want to invest in me?" And then like, no, everyone's like, "No." Like thousands of people.
Yeah, right, dude. Heim Bloom is my boy now. I'll just ask Heim to draft.
deGrom in the main event though he's gone. There's been 3 of them, 3 drafts. I expected him to be higher. He has gone number 14 in starting pitcher. I guess take out Ohtani, it doesn't count. So he's behind Sale, Gilbert, Wu, Brown, Ragans, and Peralta. Peralta and Fried have gone ahead of deGrom, so people are worried.
He's the best value out of the top 10 by far. Okay, so we got deGrom at 5. We have Brian Wu at 6. Cole Ragans at 7, who's awesome, but he's hurt a lot. Yamamoto at 8. I just don't expect him to pitch as many innings this year as last year. Otherwise, I would have him at 5 or 6. Kirby at 9, who had a bad year last year, and Chris Sale at 10. So like I think that a lot of these guys are like, is it like a lot of people have Kirby out of the top 10 now, don't they? Isn't that kind of crazy?
I don't look at other people's rankings, not because I'm like so high and mighty. I just like don't want to.
What about okay? Then look at the ADPs. Where
he's
is
16th
Kirby
in the
going?
main event?
Yeah, see, that's a little crazy, man.
He was one of these guys with some injury. Like I don't know, where is he overall?
Okay, so he had a 3.39 Sierra last year and a 4.21 ERA. That's a major positive regression candidate here from a guy who is always pitching with a very good whip. Like I like pitching guys with a good whip. Like I like dudes with good whips. And he had also a 20.6 K minus walk rate last year, which was actually a career high.
Yeah,
so why is George Kirby going 16 when this dude always he only 160 innings last year, but he had 190 the 2 previous years before that. So if he's healthy, he's probably going 180, 190 with a good whip, and he'll definitely have a lower ERA next year. Like that was an aberration, 4.21 ERA. That's not going to repeat.
He bulked up the strikeout rate last year because he started not throwing as many strikes. It was kind of like this thing that I had somewhat predicted for him, or at least said like he could have more strikeouts if he just stopped throwing everything right down the middle. And he did that. So you got more strikeouts. You got a few more walks, but it was still like a 5% walk rate or something like that. I don't think it's about the performance, maybe a little bit, because his numbers didn't make him look like an SP1 last year. But he started the year with some kind of scary injury, and it didn't matter. But he's one of these guys that like kind of increased velocity last year and put more strain on the elbow. And then he had some injuries in the past. And it just kind of seems like he might be one of those like Tommy John ticking time bombs. He'd probably be on my list if I made that post. Like, I don't really like to speculate that much because I think it's all way more guesswork than people want to think. But the Tommy John ticking time bomb, that sounds actually really, really catchy. So that'd be a good, just something to talk about. Well, he'd be on that list for me, but maybe that's overly doing it.
I guess one positive thing is none of these Mariners guys have had arm troubles. Like, look, Gilbert and Kirby both have not had a Tommy John. So if you're watching on YouTube or XVision, you can see the F scores of these guys. And then also on if you bought the prospect package, you get this. And you can see that I actually went through every single pitcher and put what year they had their last Tommy John. Just keep in mind for Cole Reagans, he had 2 Tommy Johns. So because he had a failed Tommy John. So he's actually had Tommy John surgery twice. And he only pitched 61 innings last year. So that's the scary thing about drafting him because he's obviously awesome. But it's like, okay, like this dude has had, it's like drafting Drew Rasmussen. Do you really want to draft that guy? Like in the like the top 3 rounds though?
Oh no, nobody does. You don't have to, but yeah. Right shoulder inflammation for Kirby last March, but he went and through a whole year. I think he started in late May and didn't have trouble. So I guess you shouldn't worry too much about that, but right shoulder, I don't know. It's a little, the injury risk I think is a little bit understated maybe in your rank, but there's a good case to be made for just like whatever, as long as that's not something going on right now. Let's not try to guess and take the value. I like Kirby for sure. He was one of my green guys on the green, yellow, red chart, and he's someone I'm targeting because I do like the cost, but it's not without risk. I don't know who. I guess nobody here is without risk.
Anyone
Chris
else?
Sale finishes it off. I'm becoming more and more into Chris Sale as we go. I don't know.
But what about Sale versus DeGrom? Are you DeGrom over Sale?
Yeah, DeGrom's always been better, but Sale's up there. He was so good last year too. Like he had the injury, but looks like he's ready to go. They're not going to limit his innings. Obviously, it's going to be all he can get. He just has like, I mean, how many guys outside the top 3? Maybe we should just like keep this running list real quick. Like, obviously, Screwball Schemes, Crochet can win a Cy Young. How many more guys here can win a Cy Young? I mean, I guess pretty much all of them. But as we get further down, we'll try to point out those dudes that have that kind of upside, and Sale certainly does. Like he won Cy Young 2 years ago. No one's going to be surprised if he does it this year, and you can get him as like a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, like he's never going to pitch 200 innings again. He's only pitched more than 150
why
innings
not?
Once since 2018. So
but they could. The Braves would let him.
Yeah, they would let him. I just don't think he's going to. He hasn't really held up. The last time he made 32 starts was 2017. So the last time he's had more than 30 starts in a season was 2017. So like, but if you just look at his career average starts, and we can actually, if we take out 2021 and 22 even, which are like the 2 that like really, outliers, he's still at like 25 starts a year. So I would only, which funny enough, all the projection systems give him 25. So like ATC, the Bat, X, Oopsie, all give him, or no, Oopsie's got him 28. But like 25 is what I would give him, which is what Bat X and ATC have. So I think that makes sense.
There's a distinguishing point that I like to make that like there is no world where nobody in this top 10 can all go 200, like if things go right. But most guys after this, there will be just no chance. The team wouldn't let them, even if things are going perfectly. The team wouldn't let them. Sale at age 37, no reason to hold back, especially with they've already lost 3 guys now. Joey Wentz is the latest victim, so he could lead the league in innings if things stay healthy. Unlikely, but at least that is in the realm of possibility, which is not for a lot of other guys.
That pen's going to get worked. All right, next 10. We got number 11, Joe Ryan, who had a little boo-boo, but he seems like he's going to be fine for this year. Number 12, Kyle Bradish.
Tomorrow, I think Joe Ryan's getting on the mound, so that's good.
Yes, good news. 12 is Kyle Bradish, who's looked phenomenal since coming back. He was awesome last year after coming back. I've always been a big Bradish guy, so I like in all my dynasty leagues, I have tons of Kyle Bradish shares basically because I got him super cheap last year when everyone else was giving up on him. 13, Chase Burns. So that's going to surprise people. We've talked a lot about it. We haven't really talked much about pitchers, but I feel like when we have talked about pitchers, I've talked about how Chase Burns is an ace. And then even when you had Derek Carty on, he was talking about how Chase Burns is an ace. So I think we're kind of just on that level where as long as he gets enough innings, like he's going to be one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like I wouldn't expect 200 innings from this guy. Like you're just talking about guys who can get 200 innings. Chase Burns cannot.
No, 150.
Only 40. Yeah, like 40.
Can you get 150?
Well, he had 100. He had 109 and a third last year from the minors. So yeah, he could theoretically, like, isn't kind of the rule of thumb that everybody usually uses for build up like 40 innings a year. So theoretically, as long as he's healthy, he could get 150. But if he gets 150 innings, he could still maybe even lead the league in strikeouts, which is crazy. That's how good his stuff is. Depending on like how many innings Skeens gets, I guess. But like he could be up there with like some of the top strikeout guys, like top 5 strikeouts, even at 150 innings, I would say.
He has a 20.3% swinging strike rate this spring. He gets whiffs.
Yeah, 127 stuff. I think he's got the highest stuff, or tied for the highest stuff in all of baseball. So Joe Ryan, Kyle Bradish, Chase Burns at 13, Christopher Sanchez at 14. I think I'm lower than most people on Christopher Sanchez. Yes. A lot of that is just like his stuff isn't great. Like he's good, but his stuff is not the same as the other guys that we've talked about so far. And he's going to pitch a lot of innings, which is one thing. Like 181 innings in 2024, 202 innings last year. So like to me, he's just kind of like he and Logan Webb and Framber Valdez are all kind of like similar type pitchers. Like Sanchez actually has better stuff than Webb, so I keep that in mind. But Webb has much better home ballpark, so that's kind of like the comparison between those two. Which Logan Webb is my number 14. So if you're watching and they're like back to back for me, so like Sanchez for strikeouts between the two. Webb has got the better home ballpark and like maybe the better track record because he's done it for a little bit longer. But they're kind of similar guys where you're going to get lower ERAs, lower whips, tons of innings, like really good guys. It's just like you're not going to get the same amount of strikeouts per inning that you're going to get from like a Chase Burns per se.
Yeah, he's getting more expensive. Every pitcher that gets hurt seems to move Chris Sanchez up more, which doesn't make any sense because nobody above him is getting hurt. But people are like, as people just get panicky or whatever, they want to build these expensive teams that are just safe. Like Sanchez gets moved up. He feels like one of the safer ones, but I don't know. You never know. So, but you're way low on him for sure. He's like number 4 or 5 in most situations.
That's crazy to me, man. I'd much rather gamble on a Jacob deGrom than Christopher Sanchez, but whatever. Like your first year last, Ricky Bobby style for me. So number 16, because I already mentioned Logan Webb is 15. Number 16 is Hunter Brown, your favorite pitcher. I think this is where we're at on Hunter Brown between you and I. We think he's good. We think he's a top 20 starter, but we're just not in top 10 Hunter Brown business, right? Like he's going to regress from last year. He's not going to repeat last year. I think he's still going to be really good. He's still an ace, but he's not going to repeat last season.
But I can't tell you which, like, I don't think he's top 10, but I can't tell you which 10 will be above him. I just kind of know.
I just did.
I know that 10 more in practice, in reality, like Brown gets this like floor boost, right? Where a lot of other guys have a ton more ceiling, but he has a ton more floor, and then the ranking you can't capture everything all at once, and so the ranking he gets bumped up just because he'll be out there and be good. But yeah, there's no 220 strikeouts with Hunter Brown, like that's not going to happen and stuff like that. But they as safe as they come. So.
Yeah, this is a reverse George Kirby situation because he had a 2.43 ERA and a 3.39 SIERA. So, like, if you want to, like, the easiest way to find value in any draft, and like dumbing this down for people, like F scores are great, pitching metrics like stuff plus and swinging strike, even like whiff rates and whatever, all that stuff's awesome. But like the easiest way to find value is just take your ERA minus SIERA, or SIERA minus ERA, whichever way you want to do it, and that's how you're going to find your differentiators. Season to season.
Yeah, nothing will beat. I mean, the more and more we try every year, we get new metrics, new player cards, new fancy numbers. But it's just like, give me the SIERA, give me the K minus walk, and that's you'll do just fine. Just using that, you don't have to be on the cutting edge or whatever you want to call it. But here's your ADP between Kirby and Brown. 30 picks ish, 20 picks separates them. So I'm in for Kirby, but if if I had to bet on which one of these guys would get hurt, I would be firmly betting on Kirby to get hurt before Brown. But anything can happen, like all of the talk last year was high velo guys get Tommy John, and then that dude Drew Thorpe was one of the first ones in spring to get Tommy John. He was throwing like 89. So it's like, okay, I know that's anecdotal, but it's like you just never know. You can't guess.
Yeah, well, as Eno says, it's not about how fast you throw; it's about how close to your max that you throw. So basically, like if you're
that could be crap too.
Yeah, right? If you can throw 105 and you're throwing 105 way too much, then that's probably it. If you can throw 103 and you're sitting 98 or 99, then you're probably a little bit safer than the dude. And then Carlos Lagrange pumping 102 every time he's throwing.
There was like a peer-reviewed, the holy grail, the peer-reviewed study of our scientific age about that. I'm not totally dismissing it. I'm not dismissing at all, I guess. Like it's legit. I'm a scientist. I'm a master of science, as I've often said, right? I have a master's degree in science, so I should worship the peer-reviewed study as well. But so that's something to that, probably, maybe, but it's like marginal boost. At least it's better to look at than nothing. I did a post about it anyway. I looked at which like prominent fantasy pitchers that are being drafted this year, their average versus their max, which ones were operating closest to their max. And like Skeens is a alarm. He sets off the alarm bells on that one. But my problem with that, and I guess we shouldn't waste time on this, but it's like, what if Skeens isn't actually showing his max? This all depends on the fact that the pitchers showed their max last year. Well, maybe Skeens has 103 and he's just never using it because he doesn't want to, doesn't need to. Like you don't have that variable always. You don't know that every max you got is the actual max. So it kind of throws the whole thing into doubt. So
yeah, not in game. I feel like you would see, like, you're more likely to find someone's max by just searching Twitter and seeing what someone did at drive line. Like his max probably was never in a game. His max was probably in some pitching lab where he just like chucked it as hard as he could.
And sometimes they're getting like a crow hop on that too. I love that. Like the videos that go viral. This guy hit 102. And it's like, yeah, he took like a running start. Like who cares about that? Skubal hit his max last year. Remember that? Was it the last pitch of his complete game? He ripped 103 or whatever just to finish it off. That was amazing. But we definitely saw his max. I just don't think we necessarily saw Skeens and other guys. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Number 17 is Nolan McLean. I might be high on him compared to other people. It's funny because like as a prospect, I was kind of like, I didn't really like him too much until we got his pitching per pitch level data at AAA, because I was like, this dude is not getting enough swing striker numbers for his stuff. And then once we got the pitch level data, I was like, okay, this guy's really awesome. He just hasn't really figured out how to use his arsenal in the best way yet, because all of his pitches, like on a per pitch level, are phenomenal. And this guy has 6 pitches. His biggest problem is pitch mix. And as he gets older and matures, his pitch mix is only going to get better. But like his stuff is amazing. Like his stuff is like always way higher than his swing strike rates. And it's like, what? It's just because he's just not mixing right. Once he starts mixing right, he's going to be amazing. So Nolan McLean, top 20 pitcher for me off the bat.
I got he was a part of this. Like I did a little thing yesterday with comparing whiff rates. I like to do this, like look at swing strike rate and K rate, and they usually line up pretty well. And then you look at the guys that don't, and he's one of these dudes with a way higher K rate than swinging strike rate. Obviously, everybody has a higher K rate than swing strike rate, but you can like adjust it. And somebody gave me you shouldn't be down on Nolan McLean. Have you ever watched him pitch? I was like, no, I didn't. I've never watched him pitch, dude. How many times do I have to say this? I don't watch the guys pitch. So I'm not a tape bro. Like I'm a numbers guy. So maybe I'm missing something. Heavy sinker. Those guys seem to overperform like Logan Webb. So I just don't buy the 30% K rate. I'm not taking him this year. Whatever. Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll eat it. But he's your SP2 if you're SP2 or 3, depending on the league size. Like he's not cheap. So I'd rather let someone else see if he can replicate that last year. I could see a sophomore slump-ish thing kind of going. With the ground balls, like he's safe because he gets those ground balls and he has that good sinker and the deep mix. Like you said, I just don't really think he's a strikeout guy necessarily.
I'm buying it. I don't think he's a 2.06 ERA like he had last year, but some of the projections are super low on him. Like I think like for instance, like we'll use the Bat X. The Bat X has a 3.78 ERA and a 1.23 WHIP. I think he beats those numbers and a 15K minus walk. I think he beats all three of those numbers pretty handedly. So, but I'm also obsessed with prospects. So
I bet the Bat X might punish him like I do for the like sinker. I feel like sinkers are we don't typically like sinkers because they don't turn into whiffs and stuff, and they give up a lot of balls in play. Like Jose Soriano, right? Great sinker, one of the best in the league, but his numbers aren't good. So maybe some guys' sinkers just like shouldn't be classified in the same kind of thing. Like Nolan McLean's sinker is obviously way different than fill in the blank, Mitch Keller or whoever else. So there's something.
Yeah, his best pitch is the gyro slider though. So I mean, like the sinker's that's not his best pitch. So
yeah, and he only throws it 28% of the time. He was like sinker sweeper in the same usage. So yeah, we'll see. He's going to pitch in the WBC. Is it tonight? And he'll be pitching in the final game, I think, if we get there, USA. So we'll get to see him there.
Yep. By the way, he's my number 8 prospect, just in case you were wondering. And these are the grades that I threw on his pitches. 55-65 on the fastball, 50-55 on the sweeper, 60-65 on the sinker, 60-65 on the cutter, which is the AKA gyro slider, because there's a slider. Basically, it's a vertical slider that he throws up to 93 miles an hour. Curve 65 out of 70. He has an awesome curve. And change up 50 out of 55. So all plus pitches, 6 plus pitches for Nolan McLean. So let's get to 18 Shohei Ohtani. So unless you're in a Yahoo league, it like doesn't really matter. It's just like, oh, you got the number 1 hitter or the number 2 hitter, arguably, and the number 18, top 20 starting pitcher are all one guy. That's just a freak. Number 19, Dylan Cease. I think there's some value here to argue. And then on the flip side, we got 20, Max Fried. I think I'm low on Max Fried compared to other people, and I'm high on Dylan Cease, I would say. How do those NFBC or whatever numbers look right now?
Cease is higher than people would think. He's around 90, 85. So he's around 80.
What does that make him in starting pitchers, though?
Yeah, let me pull that back up.
Yeah, I think Cease is going to have a better year this year. I mean, Toronto's been they've been really good about bringing guys in. And, sometimes when a team signs a guy like that first or second year, you just see them like, oh, I just got paid. This is sweet. And they kind of like chill. But Toronto has not had that issue. When they bring guys in, they're actually like really good kind of off the bat. I feel like they just have a very good team gel thing going on. So I kind of expect Cease to jump in and outperform last year. And again, ERA minus Sierra, 4.55 ERA for Cease last year and a 3.58 Sierra. It's almost a whole run difference.
Yeah, he can. I mean, it could go badly though. Like it pretty much goes badly for him half the time because he gives up home runs or BABIP or something like that. But it could go really well as well. Like these are two pretty different guys. Like Free gives you the same pretty good stuff every year, nothing elite, but it's the same every year. A good return. Cease gives you like elite stuff every once in a while and really bad stuff every once in a while too. So it's just kind of what strategy do you take? Do you go for first place, or do you just try to stay competitive and like push your team over the edge on the waiver wire and stuff? It's safety versus upside, the classic conundrum.
This is my fear with Max Fried. He had a 0.65 home runs per 9 last year, even though he went to Yankee Stadium when his career in a better ballpark for pitchers was 0.75. So he's going to be pitching I think he just got really lucky with not giving up home runs last year. I think because like you would expect when you're going from Atlanta to New York, you're going to the hardest division in baseball, arguably, in a home run ballpark. You'd expect home runs to go up, and they didn't. They went down. So I kind of expect that to swap this year.
Yankee Stadium is better for left-handed power unless you're Aaron Judge, and it doesn't matter. And Fried's not going to give up anything to lefties, so he kind of has his being left-handed and always just being so good at this anyway. Like he kind of beats the Yankee Stadium thing. Fair point though that you're probably back up to 0.8 or something. But look at that. I mean, the numbers on the screen. He's never even been close to giving up 1 home run per 9. He's so good at that. So it's kind of what we're talking about. Just you know what you're going to get, and you're going to be pretty happy with it. But he's not going to like be the reason you run away with your league necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next 10. I've got Brandon Woodruff at 21. I think he's super underrated. I know I'm definitely high on him.
He's hurt though, right? I mean, he's already banged up.
No, they already said he's gonna be ready for opening day. He's gonna be fine. F score is 117 F score, so like really good value here on Woodruff. 22, Freddie Peralta, who looked amazing. I saw him, and he had 3 perfect innings. Like he looked really, really good. 23, Emmett Sheehan. I love Sheehan. I think that he is a huge value. So Woodruff and Sheehan are like 2 of my favorite guys to draft. I actually got both of them in my TGFBI draft, but I've been getting them in a lot of leagues. 24, Jesus Luzardo. 25, Yuri Perez, who I think I have 0 shares of because he's going super high. I mean, like I love Yuri, I get it, but like I don't know. I feel like with a guy coming back from injury, I would want a little more value on him before I bump him into top 20 territory. Number 26, Trey Savage. 27, Zach Wheeler, who is coming back in April. It has been said by the team. So even though you'll probably miss like 4 starts, probably 4 starts, I guess, from Wheeler. If Zach Wheeler comes back and is Zach Wheeler for 26 or 27 starts, like you're getting top 10, top 5 starting pitcher value in, top 30, 40 territory. So I really like the value on Zach Wheeler for this year. 28, The Miz. How many innings is he going to get? Is he going to maintain the control? Those are the big questions. 121 stuff is phenomenal. 29, Framber. Gotta love the landing spot for Framber in Detroit. And then 30, Trevor Rogers. I think we've got a lot of guys to talk about here, but we have a limited time. So which of these guys do you kind of want to
talk about, John? I can't tell anybody to draft Brandon Woodruff. Injury thing.
He's one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's healthy.
I don't think he's going to be healthy. It's really just that. I mean, last
year,
you finished the year with a right lat strain. Already problems this year. He had this major shoulder surgery. Remember, no team even wanted to give him a contract. That was a couple of years ago. Maybe like a lot of people think the numbers last year put that all to bed, but I can't see the volume being there. Like finishing with a right lat strain last year on September 18th, like not good.
This is my question. Why would the Brewers, if they were not confident in Brandon Woodruff putting up a mostly healthy year, trade Freddie Peralta unless they thought that Woodruff is back and he's going to give them 150 good innings?
They weren't going to pay Peralta, and they needed to get, the optimal time to trade him was this offseason. I think the Brewers are Brewers don't get ragged on because they win, but they're like one of the most cheap, quote unquote, like money conscious teams. So I don't think that's a great argument.
Could have waited for the deadline, though. I mean, like if they were not confident in Woodruff, then they could have just waited for the deadline, kept Peralta until the deadline, and then traded him then.
They wouldn't have gotten the return they did if you're selling 2 months of Peralta plus rather than 6. So
maybe arguable now.
Whoever you trust more, let us know. Do you trust him or do you trust your boy JA, the newly found injury paranoid guy? Same with Wheeler, like 1 less rib, thoracic outlet syndrome, already had his retirement plans. Like it's a nerve thing. It's a scary thing. I just think like a one little thing, he's not a 24-year-old kid with millions of dollars in his future to be made if he makes it. Like, I just think it could go very poorly. And who knows if he can still pitch. That was a serious injury. 1 less rib might help him, man. Who knows? Well, there's not much data on that, I'm sure. We don't. More flexible. All right, yeah. So we got a couple of young guys here. Sheehan, Yuri Perez, Savage. We'll get more into these guys in the Dynasty and the Prospect. Well, I guess not the Prospect one. And I already did. These 3, what do you think of these 3? Like, who? If you had to take one of these 3 real quick, Sheehan, Yuri,
Savage. Who
It's
do you
Yuri
pick?
by far. Sheehan right behind. Not maybe. Okay, Sheehan and Yuri are way ahead of Savage for this year, and we're talking redraft. I wouldn't touch Savage for this year in redraft. You left off Mizurowski. These are three of my favorite targets. Like I almost want somebody to talk me off. Like the fact that Mizurowski is this low, same with all these guys. Like, why are these guys as low as they are? They're still top 30, but they all have, speaking of the thing we brought up at the beginning, like which of these guys could win a Cy Young this year? Maybe you can argue that Sheehan and Mizurowski can't get the innings. But 160, could you win a Cy Young with 160? I doubt that's ever happened before. So maybe that's the question. But man, their per game upside is like potentially the best in the league. I've drafted Yuri a bunch, Mizurowski a bunch. I really was always skeptical with Mizurowski about the command because he's a history of high walk rates in the minors. But then I looked at his like 4-seam fastball ball rate last year, and it was really good in the majors. And nobody can hit that pitch. This guy is 7 foot tall and he throws 99. His effective velocity, which adjusts for that release point, is the highest in the league. He's like Mason Miller levels, and he's a starter. Like no one's gonna hit that fastball. It's just so good. So
it's an 80 grade fastball. But what else? But the problem is like, what else does he have? There's durability.
Does it matter?
A little bit of durability
Does it
concerns. Yeah, there's a little bit. Well, I mean, yeah, it's Spencer Strider, right? There's a little bit of durability concerns here, and then there's definitely some command concerns. I think Savage is safer. Obviously, the Blue Jays have more depth, so like they've got that going for them. So maybe they don't need Savage to pitch as many innings as the Brewers will need Mizurowski, especially if you don't trust that Woodruff is going to stay healthy.
What was the prospect like report
Logan
on
Henderson's already hurt too, so
Savage's fastball? Was it viewed as good, or because that's the question with him? We know the splitter can do work, but the 4-seamer is a question mark still. So was it supposed to be good, or were there worries even in the minor leagues?
No, it's solid. I mean, I threw 55 out of 60 on it, so like it's above average to potential plus as a pitch.
It was about average last year in the majors, but if he doesn't have it, the problem with that is when your best pitch is a splitter, you can't throw a splitter on 0-0. You certainly can't throw a splitter on 2-0. You need something else to get to the splitter. Like if he's ahead in the count, you feel great about it. But I just think it could be a struggle a little bit of the high draft price because of the World Series and the breakout last year. I just don't know if he's worthy of this. And then put on the fact that he probably can't clear 160 innings, and I don't really see the point.
Slider is good too, and also he was maybe the best pitcher in minor league baseball last year. So keep that in mind. Yeah. Framber in Detroit, you like that?
Safe, like Fried light. Definitely not going to be someone you are chilling in August 1st, like thinking back. You guys. I go back. You go back, and it's like August or after the season, and you look at your draft, and you're like, you just like bask in your own glory of the good picks you had. Like Valdez isn't going to be one of those guys. He's just kind of a building block dude. Like take the innings, take the good innings, the good ERA, the probably bad whip, but it could be a very good ERA, a lot of volume. But again, he's not someone you're like, that's the reason you won the league, but safe.
Buying Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, man, he looks so good in spring. They just like, It was so crazy to me. He pitched the first day of spring. The Orioles played the Yankees the first day on 20th. And then he was back out there like 5 days later. I was like, what's going on here? Like they feel really good about him, I guess. Not like a ton of pitch count or anything like that. I think he's the opening day starter. He was awesome last year. Looks really good this spring, which can't hurt. So I'm in on him. I'm sort of shocked that I am because I thought for sure that I would hate him because of how lucky he was last year. But, there's regression, but the regression is still going to bring him back to a very good pitcher, I think.
Yeah, I agree. 181 ERA last year, 375 SIERA. So he's definitely not going to pitch to an under 2 ERA again. That's not probably possible, but he should. I think he's going to beat the projections. The projections all give him like an over 4 ERA and 127 whips and stuff like that. Like I think he's going to beat all those. I think he's probably going to be like a 340 something ERA with like under 1-2 whip, like 117, 118, whatever. And then maybe like 18 came on his walk rate. So I think he's a pretty good pitcher. I think he's kind of underrated right now by the projections. So
one thing on the dashboard that I'm always looking at is 4-seam fastball strike rate. My strike rate is different than what you see with other sites because I don't count balls in play as strikes because they're not. We won't get into it. But I like a pitcher that has a very high strike rate on the 4-seamer because that just tells me that they can get ahead, set things up, especially when you have a really nice changeup like Rogers does. Rogers had a 58% strike rate on his four-seamer, and it was 660 pitches. It was like one of the best in the entire league. So I think the floor is so nice. Maybe he's not crazy high ceiling, dude, but I like him.
Yeah, next 10.
SP4. I get my numbers. Here we go.
All right. 31, Mackenzie Gore. 32, Cam Schlittler. 33, Nick Lodolo. 34, Spencer Strider. 35, Nathan Eovaldi. 36, Nick Pivetta. 37, Kevin Gaussman. 38, Sonny Gray. So we've got a bunch of old guys here. 39, Jack Flaherty. And 40, Tatsuya Imai. Flaherty's so underrated, man. He's the most underrated pitcher out of all these guys in this group here. Schlittler, obviously, like, awesome fastball, fun to watch. New York Yankees is going to pump his value up too much. I'm probably not going to get any shares just because all these Yankees fans are going to beat me to him. 31, I like Mackenzie Gore going to Texas. I think that's going to be good for him. He's going to go to a more pitcher-friendly stadium, and he's going to have a bunch of vets like DeGrom and Eovaldi hanging around with him. When before in Washington, he was like the oldest guy at like age 25, 26. And it's like, okay, that's kind of crap. Like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of crappy for him. Like, the dude's a gamer. And I think that him being around like some crafty old vets like Eovaldi and DeGrom is going to make him a better pitcher now and long term. So I actually really like this move from McKenzie.
I don't think you can call DeGrom crafty. He hasn't had to be crafty, right? Like DeGrom's too good to be crafty, but that's not.
Well, he was a shortstop that turned into one of the best pitchers in the last 10 years in baseball. So I mean,
crafty is like, it's like scrappy. They always used to call Josh Harrison scrappy, which just meant he's not very good. You know, he's not very good, but he like kind of makes some plays and stuff. But
okay, how about Eovaldi then? Eovaldi used to be a Miami Marlins 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and now he's like
crafty.
A really good pitcher.
I bet DeGrom and Eovaldi will be like, "Hey, Gore, did you realize that you started walking everybody in July last year? Like, have you considered not doing that this year?" And he'll be like, "Oh, dang, yeah, I'll try that." And then he'll just be an ace. I think he could win a Cy Young. I think he's that potentially good. There's a lot of downside as we saw last year, but big Gore fan for me as well. 27, that's surprisingly young. Like, this dude was one of the Padres, he was one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, just couldn't throw strikes. And now he's had two different problems. He's had walk problems and he's had home run problems. And he had fixed both of those. The home run problem hasn't been a thing for a few years. He kind of fixed that. The walk problem wasn't an issue until it was last year, and it was a disaster. But he did hit the IL, so maybe some of it was injury related. It's a good park shift, probably. Don't know for sure with Texas. Some of the weird stuff we've talked about that with Cardi. That was an interesting segment. And the team context is better. It's a better lineup. It's not the greatest lineup in the world, but yeah, big Gore fan, huge ceiling for him. But it comes with a relatively low floor. But as your SP3 or something, you can kind of embrace some more of the floor.
Where are you on Spencer Strider right now?
I have no idea. I'll just let someone else do it. It's good to see the velocity coming back, but like there's this one thing. It seems like the league moves in waves, and 2022-ish, Strider came up, and it's like this new kind of pitcher. I remember this. This is when I started really getting into the numbers. He was throwing four-seamers and sliders, and like very few other guys were doing that, just two-seam or two-pitch mix. And a lot of people were like, well, he can't make this work. He needs more than two pitches. But it's like, well, no, if your two pitches are crazy elite, then it can work. And then other guys tried to like model after him. I mean, I guess you could argue that DeGrom was doing that before Strider. DeGrom always had more pitches, just didn't really need them with the four-seamer and the slider. Jared Jones, as a Pirates, I always remember the Pirate guys, but Jared Jones had that same kind of thing, like heavy four-seamers and nasty sliders and not really much else. And that works fine as long as your four-seamer and slider are both elite. And Strider hasn't had the same velocity since the elbow stuff. Last spring this year, we're watching that closely. First outing was 93, but they said like he's taking it easy, which makes sense. Second outing was 95. Still not enough. I still think we need 96, 97. Maybe that's the next step. We're still 2 weeks from opening day, a little bit more than that, probably, 16 days till his first start. So he's got at least one. If we see 97 in his next outing, like, okay, maybe he can get back. Still don't think I would take him. I just like there's a lot of downside if the fastball is not good. And again, like it is a short pitch mix, which means that if one of these pitches isn't working, it could go pretty poorly. And maybe there's something in the water within Atlanta where just everybody can't stay healthy. That's a joke more than anything. But
yeah, well, I mean, like he's got the spin back is the good thing. But the Braves don't have a shortstop, right? Like that's another thing to consider. Like who's going to be their starting shortstop? Nacho Alvarez.
Dubon. Is Dubon a good defender though? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is like back in the day, they had what's his face is short, and he was pretty good.
Swanson,
Arcia.
yeah,
They had
Orlando.
Arcia back when he was good. Arcia is a pretty good defensive shortstop.
Strider doesn't get many ground balls, so kind of work.
Yeah.
His problem
Yeah,
is home runs. He could just give up a ton of home runs, right? If he's at 95, if he's like a 2-pitch guy, 85% four seamers and sliders, and the fastball's not completely elite, he might give up a ton of home runs and have big problems, like kind of Nick Pivetta in Boston problems. Remember that crazy year he gave up so many home runs. So I would not count on a great ERA for Strider. I think you can count on decent amount of strikeouts and a pretty good whip, but the ERA could get bloated.
Yeah. Next, we've got a bunch of old guys here: Evaldi, Pivetta, Gossman, Gray, all solid pitchers, right? Like you don't want that to be your number SP1, probably not even your SP2, but those guys are all awesome SP3s. I would say.
You've already finished last year with he went to the 60-day injury, right? Rotator cuff strain in August, went to the 60-day IL. His last outing was in late August. So not a good end health-wise for the old guy. I'm off.
Yeah, he's pitching in spring. 3 starts
in
spring.
It's an arm strain thing. Like those things tend to kind of come back. So he's on the Tommy John time bomb list. Evaldi.
No, he's 36, man. He's already had one. 2016, he had a TJ already. Hopefully, he doesn't
watch out for it. I'm gonna come back to you when it happens.
If that happens, do you think he's gonna retire, or do you think he's gonna actually play it out?
I don't know. Does he have kids? I mean, that's these guys.
Yeah,
I don't know what I would do either, man. Like he's my age, and we act like he's some old dude. Like you got a lot of years ahead of you. So we got 40, me and Evaldi, and you. You have 100 years left because you eat the raw milk and the whatever animal blood or whatever it is. So, yes. but like you got a long way to go. You don't just want to retire, like. Because your initial reaction is like, you're at the end of your career. Why do all this to get back? But it's like, well, they're not 65. Like they got a lot of years left to cover and all they know is playing baseball. So I think he probably would try to come back.
Yeah. 39, Jack Flaherty. I think Flaherty is a killer value. Yeah, last year he had an 18.9 K minus walk rate, 367 Sierra against a 464 ERA. So I think that's bouncing back. And guess what? He's going to be in a free agent year. So I think Flaherty is a good value here. What do you think?
I agree. Like high K to walk, probably the highest K minus walk rate from last year that you'll find this low. It like really doesn't match up. You look at all the guys that were at 19% or above and look at their ADPs, and Flaherty's like, what's that ADP doesn't look like it should be on this table update, not this one, but the figurative one, the imaginary one I just put up in your minds, like better indicators than results. That said, like doesn't have any way to attack lefties. I did this other thing where I looked at like how different pitchers are against righties and lefties. He just has nothing against lefties, and it's kind of been a problem for him. He's a guy that can give up a lot of home runs. The park changed last year or 2 years ago where Detroit isn't as friendly of a pitcher park anymore. So I'm not saying you have any chance of getting like a 3.0 ERA from Flaherty, but strikeouts, decent ratio. That's never going to be that bad with that good K minus walk. So I think it's a really good value, but another case where you're not going to be running victory laps over and over again for taking them, I don't think. But yeah, the contract year might matter. I think that matters a little bit more for hitters because a hitter can like decide to steal more bases, right? Like that's something consciously they can do. Like I'm going to steal more bases and maybe get some more money on my next paycheck because I showed that ability. What can a pitcher do? Like, why wouldn't he have been trying as hard last year? I'm not sure what the incentive is for him other than maybe to try to push through injuries a little bit more. I don't know. It could be good or bad. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I kind of like the contract incentive thing on the hitter side more than the pitcher, but it matters.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, unless you're going to develop a new pitch or like work, just work out harder, like just work out a lot harder that off season so that you're in shape to pitch more innings. I think.
I don't know. Maybe you're a little bit more focused on what your ERA is, and maybe in those like
more studying, study the hitters more. Like
or even if your team's up, if you're up 9-1 in the 5th inning or something, maybe you're not. A lot of the guys will just be like, okay, I can give up a few runs here. Who cares? Maybe that in that case, you're like, I got to keep this ERA as low as possible for my next contract. But I don't know. It's all kind of speculation, but definitely good value on Flaherty this year.
Yep. Number 40, Tatsuya Amai coming over from Japan.
Yeah, stuff right here is crazy. That seems really high.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's only a three pitch guy, I want to say. No, he's got 4 pitches. But he's got the wrong way slider. Pretty interesting pitch. Fastball's good. There is a chance he gives up a lot of home runs going to Houston because obviously, So obviously, like the conversion table I used wasn't factoring in Minute Maid Park. So I would, look out for that. But look at that slider, 46.2 swing strike rate. It's insane.
13 pitches. Why they haven't let him really pitch? It looks like it's like one outing or something. But yeah, his 4-seam slider, sinker change, splitter. The splitter should be more than 8%.
He might be a first half guy, man, because he's got such an odd look to him and there's like not enough tape on him. So he might be a guy who like dominates the first half. And then once people get like second, third looks at him, he starts getting shelled a little bit. So this might be a really good candidate if you're in a trade league to pick him up early and just like let him rip for the first couple months and then try to trade him while the value is super high. So just something to consider.
That was Tetsuya Imai. I try to always remind myself to keep saying the names because you listen to other podcasts and you missed when they started talking about the guy, and then you're wondering who they're talking about. So we have to like repeat names. That was Imai, potential like hot start and then trade. I agree with that. That's an interesting take.
Yep. Next 10.
Ryan Pepio, my boy.
Yeah, 41 Ryan Pepio. Going to be in a better ballpark, so keep that in mind. 42 Blake Snell. He's hurt, but I don't expect him to miss much time. 43 Cade Horton, 44 Bubba Chandler, 45 Luis Castillo, 46 Hunter Green, who's hurt and probably will miss more time. We'll see. 47 Connolly Early. He's been amazing this spring. He would be much higher in my rankings if he was going to break, but Boston has basically said he's not going to break camp, which is crazy because he's been so good. He might be their second best pitcher or something. So I love Early, but I just don't expect more than like 130 innings from him because I think that he's going to spend a month in the minors for whatever reason until they're like, oh, Oviedo is not that great. We should probably move him to the bullpen. And then Early comes up into the rotation, which is my guess of what's going to happen. 48 Tyler Glasnow, 49 Robbie Ray, 50 Parker Messick, who I know I'm definitely super high on compared to.
Let me throw something up about Pepio just real quick. Ray's preview on MLBDataWarehouse.com went into this. I did home road splits because the Rays are in this unique situation, which we've almost never seen. Have we ever seen this before? A team go from one park to another park and then back to that park because of the hurricane thing with Tropicana last year. So they went from very pitcher friendly to very hitter friendly back to very pitcher friendly. So the prices should be adjusted for this, like a competitive league. They'll be weighed in and stuff, but it doesn't really seem like it's the whole way there. Pepio had a 4.38. That's actually a bad example. He had a worse ERA on the road.
Yeah.
He had
the guys they traded, Boss and Bradley, are the better examples.
Yeah, forget ERA. We don't care about ERA. He had 1.0 home runs per allowed on the road and 1.7 at home, which makes a lot more sense. So a lot of these guys just give up a ton of home runs at home and then not on the road. Pepio will give up home runs. He's a fly ball heavy guy. Always had some troubles with lefties, I think, but good stuff. Not like ace level stuff, but big improvement this year. Should be expected. 3.5 ERA with 26% K rate. Walk rate's a little bit of an issue. I think he's a value, not like a breakout necessarily, but I really like all these Rays guys going back to the very pitcher friendly Tropicana. And it's not all about the park dimensions either. It's like it's dark in there. The hitters can't seem to see. Remember the Willie Adames thing? So he just couldn't see the ball at home. And then it's like low to sea level too. And then the indoor thing just works out where the pitches move a little bit more or something. So there's a lot of angles there that are interesting, but I would want a couple Rays. I want Rasmussen or Pepio. I really wanted Boz before the trade too. Still fine. But, I like one of those two guys on pretty much every team I draft. I think that's a nice price.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That chart makes me want Shane Boz. So Snell versus Glasnow. Who are you going with?
Snell, really likes Snell. I'm looking at him. I'm in a DC. I'm doing one more. I'm at pick. Is he still on the board? Yeah, he's still on the board at 156. I'm up in 3. I guess you don't want the injury to be at the beginning of the year. It's not an injury though. It's just he's ramping up. It's just a slow ramp up, which could be actually good because you never expected 32 starts out of Blake Snell. And take their time, and then maybe he gets into that groove. It's always like there's rough patches, there's an injury, but then there's this 2-month period where Blake Snell puts up a 1.1 ERA with a 13 K per 9, and that is so valuable when he does it, especially on the Dodgers and this team. So yeah, you're not getting 180 innings. You might not even get 150, but the innings are going to be so good. A lot of these walk rates with him were crazy high in the past. They're still high, but they're not nearly as bad. It's 10% now rather than 13, 14%. So the whip is always whatever. It can be really good. He doesn't give up hits, but he walks a lot of guys. But the ERA is just he might be one of the top 3 toughest guys to actually get hits against. It's not all that hard to get on base against them, but you just can't square him up. very, very good. So 130 elite innings, probably. And that assumes that he doesn't have another injury thing. So, but yeah, I just think the price, since he's not going to be on the opening day roster, he's getting really, really cheap. I mean, doesn't it feel like a steal at 160? I might get this dude in a DC.
Yeah, he really fell in the TGFBI league. I was about to pick him, and then someone grabbed him right before I could, and it was really deep. I can't remember. He was going to be like my 5th pitcher or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's how far he fell. I was like, that's crazy. To have like Blake Snell as your 5th starter would be insane.
I have Crochet, Yuri so far. I've kind of taken it easy, but like Cade Horton just went before Snell, Tanner Bybee, Tatsuya Imai, Sandy Alcantara, all went before him. So I like it.
Yeah, I do too. We haven't even talked about Sandy yet. Look, that's a good value there. So Parker Messick, our boy Parker Messick, how in are you in on Parker Messick?
We've talked a lot about him. Looks decent this spring, right? The story I think we're right on is that he'll never be a strikeout machine, 22% K rate, but really hard to square up, keeps the ball in the park. Is there any news on his chances of making the roster?
I would kind of like guarantee it. I don't know who else they would have in there.
They haven't had an injury yet to help them, but looks the 8%.
Yeah, I mean, like really, Logan T. Allen is pretty crappy. Yeah, Slade Ciccone, meh. Joey Cantillo, probably better from the pen. Like, I think he's better than those guys, so I don't understand why he wouldn't. Like, I know Roster Resource doesn't have him on the rotation right now.
Well, I think
that makes sense.
I think it's obvious that Williams, Bybee, Ciccone, and Cantillo make the rotation. So there's one spot for Messick or Logan Allen. I agree that Cantillo is better in the pen, but the Guardians aren't there yet, and he's kind of a popular breakout pick too. It's got good stuff. We'll talk about him later, maybe on another episode. But it's not a guarantee that Messick's in there. He's kind of competing with Logan Allen, which seems so obvious. But Logan Allen probably doesn't have options. Maybe they just want him to eat some innings before Messick takes over. So you'll eventually get Messick. I don't think that his ceiling is high enough to. If he's not making the rotation, I don't think you need to draft him. Because the ceiling's just, he's just fine. So,
yeah, good control guy. Next 10.
All right, I'm behind the SP6.
All right, don't worry. We got it. There we go. 51, Robbie Snelling, who looks like he should break camp. The thing is, will he? The Marlins are cheap.
Yeah.
Do they plan to win this year? I feel like if they actually want to go for winning this year, then I think he breaks camp. But if they want to just be the Marlins, then he's probably a Super 2 guy, and he comes up in late April. I mean, they've got good pitching without him. They've got Alcantara, Yuri, Max Meyer, Braxton Garrett. Of course, they just re-signed former Marlin Chris Paddock on a reunion tour. Paddock's actually been really good this spring, surprisingly. Like he's been, it's spring training, but he's been like really good this spring. So I don't know. Unless they are really like, okay, we need to win. Then like Snelling should be up. But Snelling has looked amazing. He had like 6 Ks the other day. Like he's been so good this spring. He got out like I saw him against the Mets. He got out like Lindor, Soto, and Bichette like 1, 2, 3 in his first appearance. So I love Robbie Snelling. I think he's super underrated. It's just like will he debut? I don't think he will. I think that it's the Marlins. I think he's up end of April, early May, something like that. Would be my guess, and I think he's gonna be fire when he's up. But I just don't necessarily think he breaks camp.
There's this weird thing at the beginning. The scheduling at the beginning of the year is kind of strange too, because you typically have an extra off day. So if nobody thinks Snelling's like, if he makes the team, he's the SP5, right? And if that's how they view him, maybe they just
SP3, man. He's the best guy. Well, actually, he's probably better than Sandy. I got him.
I agree. I agree, but they probably wouldn't use him like in game 2 or 3. So they might be thinking like, we'll get him into the rotation the second time around, like maybe make him 1 AAA start just to like, I don't know, take it easy or something like that. And then because a lot of these times you don't even see the SP5 until the 2nd or 3rd week of the season because you have the extra off day and you can kind of just cycle through. So I don't know. I agree. I don't think you see him in the first like fantasy matchup. I don't think there's any chance of that. But when he's up there, he's someone to add like immediately. You kind of want him. There's pretty nice floor, nice upside for Snelling.
Yep. 52, Bryce Miller, bounce back season, I think. But I think he was kind of overrated to begin with a little bit. So I think this is probably like where he belongs, is this kind of range. Drew Rasmussen, I'm just concerned, man. I've got him at 53 because I'm just like really concerned about his injury, like his injury history. And the fact that they moved him to the pen at one point last year too, they like moved him back to the pen. And the Rays have a ton of pitchers, so like they can just add more guys in. Like I just don't know. Like he's awesome when he's healthy, but like I don't know. He scares the crap out of me with his health. 54, Carlos Rodon, also hurt. Coming like he'll start the season late. I think he's going to be back in April, but he's going to miss a couple starts. And had a really good season last year. Like maybe I think that might have been like his second best career season or something like that. And then we got Michael King here, who I'm not high on. Like I'm probably the lowest person ever on Michael King.
Yeah, that's low.
But Rasmussen, Rodon, King, like you got anything on these guys?
Yeah, Rasmussen hit exactly what they wanted him to last year, 150 innings on the dot. The bullpen thing wasn't about health. It was just about this maintenance thing. They were not going to go over 150 innings. And that's what he hit, 31 starts. He has never posted an ERA above 2.84 or never posted a whip above 1.08. I would bet on both of those things probably happening this year, but a 3.1 ERA, a 1.1 whip in 170 innings, like that isn't crazy at all. You're right. Double Tommy John. Not a lot of guys can ever come back from that. But he did last year. I don't know, 150 innings, 2.76 ERA, 102 whip, going to this. He's crafty, right? You're going to talk about crafty. Mm-hmm. Not a strikeout guy, but just doesn't give up runs or hits. And now he gets this benefit of this weird place to hit in Tropicana. I think it's awesome. So I'm in.
Yeah. All right. We're at an hour. Should we try to do a take two a little bit later and call it?
I would love that. If you can cram it, let's do that. If you can fit it in.
All right. So we're going to end this podcast now, and then we'll try to do a take two in a little bit. So we'll peace out of this one. Make sure you subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse and buy the prospect package if you haven't, so you can get all these nice charts. Leaving off at 55, and we will continue from there for a part two. Peace out, everybody.
Big Data Warehouse, yeah, we bring the spree. Prospects, DFS, betting strategy. John's grumpy, Tim scouting like a man possessed. Doc drafting comeback stories better than the rest. But the tools are elite and the content's free. And your fantasy trophy gonna look prestigious. ML.